All right, we are live. Welcome to Keyboard Warriors, presented by CrossmanMMA.com. As usual, I am your host, Eddie Law. With us today, we got Fred Kirby from Gem City Fighting. What's up, dude?
Yo, what's up, fellas?
And from Stand and Bang Radio, on the GoPro cam of sorts, we have Aaron Robbins. What's up, man?
I am having technical difficulties, so I am coming to you through a Samsung Galaxy 5.
You know what? The Galaxy 5 is not bad. The 6 is coming out soon. It's supposed to be pretty damn slick, but I don't know if you want to spend the money on another phone. These phones are expensive as shit, too. So.
Yeah, I think I have to pay for this one until my son goes to college.
Oh, shit. How old's your kid?
11.
Oh fuck, dude, you get a while. All right. unless you get him in one of those those schools that's like accelerated learning, and he graduates at 14 and goes to college at 15.
Yeah, no, my son doesn't like school all that much.
Hey man, teach him how to do a jump shot. Maybe he'll get a scholarship that way. I don't know.
Do you see the shade of my skin? What do you mean teach him how to do a jump shot?
Hey, look, white dudes can shoot. I'm not saying let him teach him how to dunk. Teach him how to shoot.
Dude, and I'm in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. More than likely, I could teach him how to do a slap shot before I could teach him how to do a fucking jump shot.
Well, hey, go for it, dude. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's talk about the happenings in the MMA world this last weekend. Starting off with Invicta, and I know because I was listening to your guys' show that you were talking about how you're a big fan of women's MMA, Aaron. Out of the Invicta card, did you get to watch it at all, or most of it, at least?
All of it.
All of it, good. What fight stuck out to you, or what fighter, or what fight stuck out to you the most out of that whole card?
Alexis Grasso.
Yeah, that chick has incredible boxing. We finally saw her in some trouble, getting taken down by Inoue and getting out of trouble just off her back and everything. She was really fucking impressive. With her getting that win, I think she's still undefeated. You know, they're talking about her going to the UFC. Do you think she can hang with those girls?
Absolutely. The other one that I'm really impressed with is Jamie Moyle.
Oh yeah, Jamie Moore. I forgot what she won by. I think I have it right here, but
I think it was. I want to say something. Yeah, remember in her first fight, it was all striking, and people were like, "Holy shit!" You know, Jamie Moyle, awesome. And then in this one, she did almost all grappling. So she's a bulldog, man. That Jamie Moyle, she is all aggression all the time. I'm really impressed with that. I like Grasso. I do think that she could hang in the UFC, but actually right now I'd like to see her develop her talent, maybe at least one, maybe two more fights in IFC, and then kind of come in having, like, okay, I think what happened was the reason why she ended up in a little bit of trouble in the third round is she had not been to the third round before, and so she was able to be taken down. I'd like to have her use that as a blueprint back at the gym and say, this is what we need to work on, so when you do get in the UFC, you don't look like Holly Holm. No.
Oh man, and we'll get to that in a minute here as far as the Holly Holm thing goes. Fred, what fight on the Invicta card stuck out to you the most, or what fighter did?
Well, I mean, come on, guys. How can we talk about this card without talking about the motherfucking Cyborg putting the goddamn Brooklyn beatdown on Tweet? Listen, like I said on the show, man, on Stand and Bang, it kind of sucks with Cyborg because she's in this weird limbo. She's in a weight division that doesn't exist in the UFC. So, you know, she can't get that major fight with Ronda. She can't make 35. She was like, 175 on the scale like 2 days later or some shit like that. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm almost starting to believe this shit that she can't actually make 35. All the crazy horse shit that Tito used to spout. Who fucking knows, man? Maybe it's true, or maybe she can't make 35 off of the juice, or who knows what the fucking case is. But it's kind of sucks to see her being so devastating and roaming around out there, and you know what I mean, like not really having a real fight. Everybody knows we want to see her fight Ronda, but that just seems like so far-fetched. I always hear shit like they're talking about it and they want to do it, but I think at the end of the day it hinges on Cyborg. Listen, Cyborg is impressive, man, but Ronda's the champ. She's the fucking, and I'm sure we'll go into later about how badass she is, but fuck that. She don't got to move up. Nobody's fucking clamoring for Anthony Pettis to fight Chris Weidman. You know, they're both extremely dominant, Jack, but, I mean, Anthony Pettis is a fucking 55er, man. Like, You know, so I don't know. Cyborg needs to drop the weight, get the major fight, or be stuck in obscurity. Although I'll say this, she looks fucking good in obscurity. I mean, she fucking looked at straight beast mode. That shit was scary fucking watching.
You know what, Fred? You bring up a really good topic in that limbo. The only reason that limbo exists is because this is WMMA. Because it's the only place where a whole bunch of fanboys and armchair warriors, keyboard warriors, are like, yeah, Ronda should move up, or Cyborg should move down. Well, that's fucking crazy. Just like you said, nobody says, man, fucking this guy should move up 30 pounds or this guy should move down 20 pounds. We don't even talk about that in men's MMA unless it's a quote-unquote super fight, which can we definitely, when we hit Bellator, we got to talk about the super fight between King Mo and Chet Congo, because I've been waiting my whole fucking life to watch that piece of shit.
Yeah, so, and the thing about Chris Cyborg, she came out today on Twitter saying that I think she tweeted out to, hey Ronda, do you need Lorenzo Fertitta's number? And then Ronda's mom comes out and tweets back, hey, I got a number for you, 135. What's up, bitch? Like, to me, dude, when I saw that, I was like, do not fuck with Mama Bear's cub. She will come like a stone cold bitch after your ass with just a slick. You got to give Ronda's mom like a lot of credit. That lady is sharp with it. To come out and say, I got a number for you, bitch, 135. What's up? And so
Ronda's mom is a fucking beast too. Hey Jack, I wouldn't be fucking getting cute with Ronda's mom. Period. She might fucking kick Cyborg's ass.
Yeah, you never know.
This is what I think. I think if the right money is involved and the right timeline is involved, I mean, we've seen Anthony Johnson be 170 pounds. Now, do I think Cyborg could do it right away? No. But I'll tell you what, if there's $1 million on the line, I can fight you at 135 pounds, and I'm a fucker.
Oh, man.
You tell me you got $1 million US, and I got to fight at 135 pounds in 12 months, I'll bet you I come in there looking like fucking Ethiopian.
He just looked dead going into the shit.
I don't see the thing with this, and I think a lot of the casuals and even the hardcores don't understand this, man. Nobody in the UFC wants that fight. Nobody wants Cyborg to be the face of the UFC. They're perfectly happy with Ronda the Sweetheart. I mean, she can model in swimsuit editions, and she can do the frickin' half nude stuff, and she's all marketable, man. I don't know. If I was Dana, I would say, sure, man, we can do a dream match, but I would never put that title on the line with the possibility of Justino being the female face of the UFC. I just don't see it, man.
See, I tend to disagree just a little bit, man. I do think that obviously it's better business having Ronda as the champ. And I know that, a lot of people kind of put the UFC or Dana White in this kind of money hungry type of idea. Don't get me wrong, I know they love making money. I'll put it to you like this. I think Dana White would be of the mind, listen, make 35. If fucking Cyborg could make 35, I think they'd make that fight tomorrow. I think the Fertittas, at the end of the day, I truly do believe that the Fertittas and Dana White love this sport and they love big fights. I think Dana White gets as excited for big fights, really fucking big fights, as we do. But again, Ronda's the golden goose, so he's not going to make her bend to Cyborg's will, and why the fuck should he? Like, she's going to have to make 35. I think if she could make the weight, I think they'd be game. Fucking make the sacrifices.
It's a good argument, man. I kind of have to bow to your wisdom on that one.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Cyborg's going to get some time to actually make that weight if she's going to actually attempt it now, because Ronda's about to go make movies and shit again. And on the other, and on that point too, before we finish off here with Invicta and move on to Bellator, Ronda making more and more movies to me is a sign that the UFC's about to lose that that golden goose. She's about to move on and realize she can make millions of dollars without getting punched in the face. And it's not going to be anytime soon, I don't think. Maybe like a year or so. So Cyborg's got some time to make that weight if she's actually going to attempt it, I think.
When does she get punched in the face?
I take it back. You're right. I think Misha did it, maybe. I don't remember. And by the way, and you know what? I'm going to have to hold on to this one, but I'm going to throw out, if some people are talking about Misha should get another shot at Ronda, get the fuck out of here with that shit. But all right, finishing off I know. Yeah, finishing off here on with Invicta FC. I too was very impressed with Alexa Grasso. I think that that the UFC should leave her in Invicta, or at least wait until she gets a belt there. I think she should be able to fight for the title at some point soon. Once she's a champion, she defends it a couple times. She gets more practice under her belt and under a more experience being a champ and defending a title. I think you could bring her over and she could challenge a lot of the top girls at that weight division. And I also like her teammate Irene Aldana. They're talking about her taking on Tanya Evinger for the Invicta, I think, bantamweight title, the 135er. And yeah, I think that's what they were talking about in the press conference. I'm not 100% sure. They were also talking about Donna taking on Chris Cyborg. What?
Who has the title?
Nobody. I think it got whatever vacated. So
Right.
yeah. So anyway, and then as far as Chris Cyborg goes, I felt like just terrible. Like the second that fight started, I was like, oh, Charmaine is so fucked. And I love Charmaine Tweed. Don't get me wrong. I like watching her fight. She's actually a really funny person. But at the same time, it's Chris goddamn Cyborg, and there's just nobody else that can put up with that kind of punishment except for maybe Ronda Rousey, and who knows whoever could see that fight.
Yeah, man, we've never seen Ronda put up with punishment, but here's the thing, man, and you know me, Charmaine's a friend to Stan and Bang. You know, we talk back and forth. I feel bad for her. I haven't even contacted her yet because I just saw a tweet from her that said, just kind of like getting my life back or whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's something to be said about having confidence going into a fight. But there's also something to be said about having fear of the right opponent. Like, back, let's say Mike Tyson, okay, because there's been a lot of comparisons with Mike Tyson this past weekend. Mm-hmm. You don't go in there and be like, oh, Iron Mike, everybody else is scared of him, but I'm not going to be scared of him. I think you got to have that healthy fear. And when Charmaine Tweet went in there trying to humanize Cyborg and, not calling her by her name and just, and not saying Cyborg, I think somewhere in there she convinced herself that is just like every other woman. And, man, a 170-pound chick that can probably punch holes through concrete, that's not every other woman. She is, as much as Ronda is a phenom of grappling, Chris Justino is a phenom of female striking. I wouldn't want to spar with her. I know that.
No way. And the thing about Mike Tyson, too, whenever you saw a Mike Tyson fight and you saw the challenger's face, it's like they knew they were fucked. It was one of those, oh shit, I'm screwed faces. And there's only two fighters that I've seen have opponents like that, and that's Chris Cyborg's opponents and Ronda Rousey's opponents, like walk into the cage knowing that they're fucked. And we'll talk more about Ronda in a minute here, but let's talk about Bellator 134, the British invasion or whatever they were calling it. Let's start with Aaron, since you're a big. You had McGeary and who else do you have on your show? Yeah,
we had Leah McGeary and Linton Vassell right after Vassell had taken the loss to Emmanuel Newton, Emmanuel Labor. Inside joke. Sorry, we have one viewer right now. Sorry, viewer. You'll have to ask us what the fuck we meant by Emmanuel Labor. But here's the thing. Emmanuel Newton is a strange dude. I interviewed him, and it was the weirdest interview I've ever done. But it's not an act. That guy really does believe in all that cosmic energy and all of that kind of stuff. But, like, he's really good in the first couple rounds with all that spinning stuff and the very unorthodox striking. But, I mean, he's kind of a lame duck when it comes to, being on the mic and being a personality, where Liam McGeary is like a big personality. And I think that Bellator really needs that. When you're starting to line up fight between Kimbo Slice and Ken Shamrock and you think that that's a good decision, you need somebody who can talk on the mic. You need somebody who can be a true badass, and Liam McGeary is there. Now, a lot of people complained about that decision. I had Liam McGeary winning 3-2. Because here's the thing, just because another man lays on top of you, that doesn't mean you win. This isn't grappling. This isn't submission grappling. This is MMA. And now I do think that Liam McGeary made a really large error not being able to decide to sit on that triangle choke that first attempt, because he could have put him to sleep, guaranteed. He just needed to commit, but then he changed the arm, and then he said, no, triangle, and then he went for the arm. And then, of course, they get sweaty and whatever. And then but he was challenging from the bottom and putting him in trouble from the bottom through the entire fight, and even though Emmanuel was putting him on his back, he wasn't doing anything with it. So I gave it to him 3-2. And I think it's super exciting to have a European champion in an American organization. That's history. Whether it's Bellator or not, that's history. As far as Linton goes, beating Sokaju, Sokaju. You know, it's like, what Remy are you gonna get in the cage? Because like up against inferior opponents, he looks great. But when somebody's equal to him or even just a little bit better, he just folds like paper. So, you know, that was good. Paul Daly, I was, you know, hoping he could get the job done, but he's Paul Daly, did what he did. And then the rest of the card, it was an interesting card. I'm glad it was free.
Yeah.
But I guess my favorite moment of that card is when whoever tried to grab Jimmy Smith's microphone from him and he got gangster on him. He's like, "No, nobody takes my motherfucking microphone."
Yeah. I fucking fell over laughing when that happened because I ended up watching.
Chet Congo was right.
Yeah, man. He was like, "Fuck, oh, I don't care how big you are, dude. I'm not relinquishing the mic." I was like, oh, "That's important to that motherfucker."
Oh man, and let's talk about that fight, that King Mo Chet Congo fight. Fred, did you get to see that one?
Yeah, I did watch that one, man, and I don't know, man. I think a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for Bellator when Scott Coker came on board, and they kind of felt like he was going to bring it. I don't know. I guess the idea was that he was going to bring some fun to the organization. And, yeah, he's fucking bringing some fun, all right, man. He is almost making it a fucking mockery. I don't know, man. I love a good freak show fight every once in a while, but this is one of those fights that didn't seem like it panned out right. It wasn't really all that fun to watch. And I still say, I don't know which one of you guys, who I messaged it to. Maybe I was DMing with one of you guys on Twitter. Fucking Chet Congo coming out as the darkness and blowing out those fucking candles and shit. It was fucking weird, Jack. I'm telling you, I was watching it. His big ass is on there blowing out candles. He fucking comes out patting his chest and doing his fucking famous Frenchy thing. It was a very weird scene, man. Like, I don't know what to make of it. It was a decent show. That fight kind of blew.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Aaron. When Czech went to grab the mic and Jimmy Smith was like, "Hold on, Jack. Nobody takes the mic. Not even 6'5" black Frenchman. Not from Jimmy Smith. Like, nobody." It's like, that's fucking pretty hard, man. That's like the best part. But that doesn't speak very well to your show when fucking he has the most exciting part of the fucking night, man.
Well, he's the most exciting part of that fight because, man, I've never been impressed with King Mo, ever. And I never will be. I don't think he's a very good fighter, at all. And you know what? It's the same thing. Chet Congo, Sokaju. There's several of these older fighters, and let's be fucking realistic. That's what Bellator is, man. It's the retirement league. These guys couldn't get in the UFC. They went too long. They started getting bad, and so they're like, "All right, Scott Coker, you can have our fucking leftovers." Because that's really what Bellator is right now, man. It's a bunch of guys that probably won't make it to the UFC, or a bunch of cats that did make it to the UFC but can't hack it no more. So King Mo going up, 25 pounds or whatever to face Chet Congo, who gives a shit, man? I was tweeting out during that whole thing. You know what? Instead of the Darkness, you know what he should change his nickname to is the Tortoise. Because when he's on his back, he cannot get back up.
No shit, man.
No.
And you're talking about a dude who has been fighting MMA for how long, and nobody in his camp has been like, "Hey, there's this new thing called a hip escape. I'll show it to you after. Check this shit out." What the fuck? Are you kidding me? You know who he reminds me of is fucking Rampage Jackson. Same thing, man. As soon as you put him out on his back, his legs go completely straight out. Completely straight out, toes up to the ceiling, and you know that son of a bitch is going to stay there until he gets finished or until the ref stands it up. There is not going to be any shrimping. There's not going to be any hip escaping. There's not going to be any fucking underhooks. It's just going to be grab onto his opponent and look up at the referee like, "Please stand this shit back up so I've got a chance."
Yeah, and the thing we were talking about Scott Coker, and I completely agree. That fight was just kind of boring as shit. But and I was never even hopeful about that fight even being good. So I was like, I was kind of glancing at it as I was doing other shit. But speaking of Scott Coker came in. He's got that experience with Strikeforce, and he did pretty well in Strikeforce overall until he sold it. He was supposed to be like the savior of Bellator. he's come in, and the first thing he did was, the first big thing he did was set up Tito and Bonner, a fight that blew, but because it did huge ratings, he went ahead and fucking signed Kimbo Slice, who's 41, and Ken Shamrock, who's 51, and now they're gonna headline a Bellator card. He's supposed to bring the fun back to Bellator. It's a circus in goddamn town, man. This is incredibly ridiculous. And so, what I was saying about this, people were asking me, okay, dude, the fight's gonna happen, and I go, first of all, who knows if it's gonna happen? One of them might get arthritis and not be able to fucking make it to the cage. You never know, if they don't already have it. And hell, one of them might just fucking die while they're walking to the cage of a fucking heart attack if their heart's just freaking out. So, here's the thing, and I always say that Ken Shamrock's gonna end up taking Kimbo Slice down and tearing his knee apart because Kimbo's knees are just shot to shit already. But Aaron, when you heard about this fight being made, what was your first reaction?
Oh man, I called everybody in my family, told them to write it down on the calendar because it was gonna be the baddest shit on earth. No man, what the fuck you think I did? I made a meme.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. He was so good. I said that shit to everybody, dude. No joke.
I've seen that thing spread across Facebook like wildfire. People love that one particular meme. Am I excited for this fight? No. Why would I be? And then Shamrock was all like indignant. Like Jimmy Smith is like, why would you want to do this at your advanced age with grandkids and great-grandkids and, you graduated 3 years before Jesus Christ? And he's like, why wouldn't I want to do it? Why wouldn't I? Because it's going to be fucking sponsored by Depends and AARP is why. You're 51 fucking years old. You get a discount everywhere. No, honestly, man, I wasn't excited for the bare-knuckle shit that he was going to do. And I'm not excited to see a 51-year-old man fight. I'm just not. It's like, fuck, man. I would rather see, okay, I don't know. On this panel here, does anybody really like watching Tito Ortiz fight anymore?
Nope.
No? All right. Well, me neither. I haven't for like a decade. But I would rather see him shut King Mo up. I'd rather see that matchup. Because they got a little bit of animosity. That look on Ken Shamrock's face, I'm not even sure if he was aware he was at a fight. He looked like he was waiting for the person to bring his Pepsi back to him or something. He had that half dementia, confused, what the fuck am I doing here look? Like, didn't I order some peanuts and that shit hasn't made it to me yet or something? I don't know, man. But whatever, dude. People are going to tune in just like they did for the fucking Bonner fight. Because people have heard of Kimbo Slice, because you can find him on YouTube beating the shit out of people and exploding people's eyeballs back in the day. And people have heard of Ken Shamrock. So, yeah, man, it'll probably do decent on free TV, so I can see why he did it. Fuck it,
Yeah. Fred, what about you, man? What'd you think about that shit going down?
Man, I love a fucking good freak show, and I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan. I love the shit talk. I'm not uptight about this kind of thing whatsoever. When they brought James Toney over, I was like, fuck it. Of course he's gonna get that ass snuffed out, but I got hyped for it. This is just so different. Randy Couture's fucking Randy Couture, and James Toney was a legend. If you want to bring back Kimbo, I suppose you could have found something for Kimbo to do because he's a huge name. He had a few boxing matches. I read something today where Ken Shamrock was like, yeah, I've been keeping in shape. Dude, you're fucking 51, and surely you haven't been keeping in shape like that. I mean, I think it's a fucking horrible fucking move, man. I think this one fight alone really, dude, is almost a sinker. Kind of, man. Like, bringing back... I mean, I don't know. These are smart people. Scott Coker's... Viacom's got a shitload of money. Which one of these motherfucking morons said, you know what? Let's have Ken Shamrock do it. Kimbo is actually a decent name, and of course he's shot. Of course he's not a very good fighter. But he's not a fucking senior citizen, man. Ken Shamrock is going to look horrible in this fight. And because Kimbo Slice has never been an elite fighter, at least Ken Shamrock was an elite fighter fucking way back when. So he might still have just enough juice in the tank to win this fight. But for me, that's not really the point, man. he is fucking well past looking good in any kind of way. When Tito Ortiz beats the shit out of you a decade ago, homeboy, the fucking train has left the station, Jack. There is no need for Ken Shamrock to ever compete in high level MMA or on any kind of grand stage again, dude. It's a fucking train wreck waiting to happen. Sign Kimbo to fight anybody, but then putting Ken Shamrock in there is just, it looks thirsty and needy as fuck as an organization. Like, find any fucking buddy else, man.
And again, well, go ahead. Sorry.
Here's my thing, guys. Where are they going to find the athletic commission to okay the fight? Because I know that this ain't going down in Nevada. This ain't going down in California. They're going to have to do that, hey, we're bringing this to you from Tennessee, but really it's Louisiana kind of shit. Because they're going to have to find a fucking loose athletic commission to let a 51-year-old man get in there and do combat sports. I'm telling you. Fucking California wouldn't sign off on this shit. So I'm waiting to see a small venue kind of down southish. Do you guys agree with that, or?
Yeah. I mean, look, that was my first thought, too, after her. First I thought, oh, fuck, really? Another freak show. Then I thought, well, who's going to let these guys fight? I mean, yeah, I get Kimbo. They'll let Kimbo fight, sure. I mean, you know, he can still stand and throw around. He's only 41. But to let a guy, just like Aaron was saying, that's basically a senior citizen at this point, the way his body's taking punishment in his brain, and you know, they're not going to let him fight. I just don't see anybody licensing this guy in a legit way. I mean, you could maybe somehow take it to Brazil where no one gives a shit and let him do that, and then you might even get a decent show if you let those fuckers juice. Had them just both juice to the fucking eyelids, and then you might get a fun freak show. But at the same time, the only thing I see happening here is Bellator, you know, capitalizing on these guys' fans for views, for ratings, and these guys going for a payday. And again, as I said yesterday on Bad Decisions, it was one of those things where I was like, look, go get your money if you really need it. If you really want to fight for money, go for it. Go get paid. But don't lie to me and tell me that you're doing it for the fans and for the sport and to give, because that's what Ken Shamrock was saying, that he was doing it for the fans, doing it for the sport, and he's doing it to give people another choice in MMA other than the UFC. Bellator's been there. They don't need your stanky ass to fucking come in and you know, make it better than the UFC. You're not going to be the change, dude. You're just not. So I'd rather not get lied to. Just, you know, tell me, hey, look, I'm coming in to fight because I like to fight and because I like to make money, and that's it.
See, my thing about Bellator is this, and I want to get you guys' opinion on this. Bellator could go in another direction. Like, they don't need to be the UFC's recycling bin. Like, I love Invicta fights, and Invicta's a feeder organization for the UFC. Now, I know that the Fertittas and Zuffa's never going to let Scott Coker be a feeder organization for the UFC, but instead of, like, using their dirty laundry, why not spend some of this money that they got going on Czech Congo blowing out candles on a fucking huge LCD screen and kind of, like, I don't know, make your own reality show? Fucking find some young blood. Because they do have some talent over there, man, like Douglas Lima. I think Douglas over Diego belongs in the UFC. Man, Douglas is a fucking world killer when he's healthy. And what is it, Shlemenko?
Yeah, Shlemenko.
Shlemenko would be interesting in the UFC. He's undersized, so I don't know how good he would do, but it'd be interesting. There are little gems, you know, in Bellator, and I think that's what they need to do is kind of like attract other gems like diamonds in the rough and shit like that, like phenoms of their camp, and bring them in. But this whole fucking recycling bin Bellator, this, you know, has-been Bellator, I'm you know, yeah, it's not my favorite organization anyways. But, I mean, if they keep cramming this shit down my throat, I might just stop watching altogether just on fucking principle.
You know, listen, man, people always say that an alternative to the UFC is a good thing so that they got competition. I say, fuck that. I'm tired of the UFC having competition, man. We had it with fucking Pride, and then we had it with fucking Strikeforce. There's always some fucking person out there snagging up whatever 9 guys exist and putting them in obscurity. Invicta's different because they have the women. So, and listen, they fucking belong to Fight Pass. They know what the fuck's up. They got with the program. That's what everybody needs to be at this point. Listen, here's a fucking better question for you guys. How the fuck long do you think Bellator's actually going to be around with this business model? And that's a fucking serious question. How long before they end up on Dana's tombstone? And who amongst us wouldn't be fucking happy for that at this point? Scrap that shit up. Let us take the fucking guys that should actually be over there, and then make it a feeder league, make it an Invicta, make it a jungle fight, make it a cage rage. That's what it should be, man. All of these places should be building up so that by the time these guys get to the UFC, instead of us fucking dealing with shitbird no-namers, there'll be guys that have somewhat of a reputation. Nobody's going to fucking overthrow the UFC. That's silly at this point. So why the fuck not just fall in line and help them make it? You know, everybody goes, well, we want to do the best for MMA. Horse shit. If you want to do the best for MMA, you got to help the UFC, whether you like it or not. You be in competition to them when you're not even really competition. You're just getting in the way and preventing a few big fights from not happening. That's all you're really doing. You know, I just don't think it's sustainable for real.
No, that's a fucking great point, because I've interviewed a lot of cats from Bellator, and they all mentioned the UFC. None of them were like, this is where I'd like to stay forever. I'm so happy. Same thing with World Series of Fighting, but at least Sifu knows. You know what I mean? The Sifu, whatever the hell his name is, Shifu from fucking Kung Fu Panda. I can't ever say his name. And I fucking Gary Goodridge fucked me up last night because he called him Sifu. But he did. You caught that shit, right? He's like, yeah, Ray Sifu. And I was like, I don't think his name is Ray Sifu, but I'm not going to argue with you because you are ginormous. That would be great. You know, everybody just agree to agree. That, like, kind of like, you know, like in baseball, right? You guys follow baseball a little bit?
A little bit.
You've got Major League Baseball. You got the MLB, right? And then every other thing is like what? AAA, AA, shit like that. And where do those guys want to go? Major League Baseball. Some guys make it to the majors and some guys don't. But there's no illusion that that's where you're trying to get. So, yeah, man, if everybody could kind of just shake hands and be like, because Invicta is a true feeder organization. That's why they're on Fight Pass. And if everybody just kind of, excuse me, if everybody just kind of went with the flow, I don't know, maybe we would see more major talent develop out of those younger guys rather than feeling stifled by being in Bellator. Because, man, there's a lot of young cats down in Florida at American Top Team, a lot of young cats at the Black Zillions, a lot of young guys, you know, over at Jackson Winklejohn that might be able to be cultivated into something.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Bellator trying to pretend that they're actually a competitor for the UFC is kind of ridiculous anyway. And as soon as you said you were talking about guys that all they talk about is going to the UFC even while they're in Bellator, there's that one knucklehead that fucking got a Bellator tattoo on his arm. I forgot what his name was, but I've seen a picture of it everywhere. If I can come up with a name, I'll tell you guys. But that idiot needs to cover that shit up quick if he ever wants to get somewhere and make some real money. But
it's a fighter?
Yeah, it's a fighter, man. I'll find the picture and show it to you later. But regardless. So yeah, and as far as Bellator goes, it was fuck. And now my mind is all blank as shit. I can't think of anything. Anyway, forget it. Let's move on to UFC 184. Went down on Saturday in the Staples Center. Overall, look, on paper, people were shitting on the card. Overall, it was actually pretty good. I couldn't hate on it whatsoever. I actually enjoyed the Fight Pass fight, especially the first one. Masio Fulton taking on Alex Torres. Did you guys get to watch that one?
Yup.
I missed that one. I missed a couple of the super early fights.
If you can go back and watch that one, Fred, you should, because Masio Fulton was in trouble in that first round. He got hurt a couple of times in that first round and ended up coming back, taking the last two rounds and winning via split decision. That was a fun fight. That was a great way to kick off the card. But that was just, I don't know. I enjoyed that fight. What'd you think of that one, Aaron?
No, I agree with you. Out of the two Fight Pass cards, that one was one that probably could have been on the prelim, I think. That was an action-packed fight. Then, of course, we had the James Krause versus Lazaro fight after that. And Fred and I talked on Stand and Bang last night. I think Krause needs to be on the chopping block at this point. He's not looking good anymore, and Fred brought up that the UFC's roster is bloated. And I think that's one of the problems with the UFC right now is that artificial bloat. We got a lot of low-level fighters in the UFC right now. I mean, honestly, we do have a lot of Bellator right now in the UFC, and that's what some of that Fight Pass prelim shit is. Kraus has been with the organization a long time and has only looked good, what, once?
Yeah. And his last win.
Wait, Fred, what the fuck are you doing to your nose?
I'm fucking trying to clean this motherfucker out. I got a hair that is tickling the shit out of me.
Because this whole time, man, you're looking like Chuck Liddell trying to get away at fucking doing a couple of lines on the DL. You're gonna get fucking keyboard warriors in trouble, man.
You just put fucking Fred out like that on fucking.
I know. I'm like, damn. Good thing I'm not doing that. I'd be fucked now, wouldn't I? My fucking secret would be gone.
Yes, it's funny as shit, man. Whenever Fred has technical difficulties tonight, I have technical difficulties tonight. He's trying to fucking do rails off his computer on the DL, and the first time I have this motherfucker on Stand and Bang, it's on YouTube, and his Avi comes up, and there is a huge cloud of white smoke hanging out of this boy's mouth, and I'm watching YouTube because this is where I fucking do my crazy shit. Over on Stand and Bang, I'm like, yes, welcome back to Stand and Bang Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Robbins, and then whoa, just got with a gravity bong or some shit. I'm like,
oh, dude, at some point, I'm going to fucking do some post-production on one of these, and whenever Fred talks, it's going to be a Snoop Dogg song in the background. Just fucking like, or a fucking still DRE or something.
All right,
when you texted me and you was like, I always thought that was a donut in your mouth. I'm like, those fucking Twitter avatars are pretty small, huh?
Yeah, dude, the fucking pictures are always small, so I thought it was him in the morning with a fucking bagel or a donut hanging out. Then I saw it full size. And it's like full on fucking toxic smoke. I'm like, hey, that'll be good for our audience. You know, fuck, man, he's vaping. So we covered this. We covered this shit on Stand and Bang, and I want to cover it here on Keyboard Warriors. We didn't get Eddie, you and I didn't get to talk about this. Jaron Vallel.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, man, is the referee who let Munoz get choked forever, and then, man, all those memes from Josh Koscheck. That poor fucker, he's on his way out, and the last thing everybody will remember is the wide-eyed stare bukkake party picture of Josh Koscheck. Poor fucking bastard. But, man, Goodridge was like, it's a fine line between right and wrong. But I like Fred's opinion, man. If it's a fine line, then you tell that fucker to ease up on the choke 2 seconds early rather than 2 seconds late. Because that shit, for me, man, both of those were scary moments. And Muniz ended up laid out, face down for probably, what, guys, 25 seconds? Face down? Like, he wasn't out for 25 seconds. He was probably out for 10. But he laid there for another 15 face down. He was profoundly unconscious. So, you know, for Keyboard Warriors, I'm Aaron Robbins saying, fuck you, Jaron Vallel. Maybe time to take that fucking refresher course that Goodridge was talking about and understand that when a dude looks at you with them fucking big-ass wall eyes, he's unconscious.
Yeah, dude. You know what thing? When Munoz, you know, when he went to sleep, you knew it. His eyes were in the back of his head. Now that angle that the UFC, you know, uses for, you know, when they're showing the fight, we could tell his eyes were back. We could tell he was out. How the hell this guy didn't fucking notice? And it took fucking Carnero to tell him, hey, this guy's out. Like, did you see the fucking memes with this fucker's face on it? Like, his eyes popped out just like you were talking about. It was fucking like, holy shit, dude. What the hell is going on? And then, you know what? I feel so bad for Koscheck because 5 minutes after that fight was over, the internet basically made it so Ellenberger bust a nut in this motherfucker's mouth or something because it was like that. It was fucking. I feel so bad for Koscheck, man. The internet was so cruel to him right after that shit.
Dude, I don't know who has such quick video capture and a meme maker. It wasn't no 5 minutes. It was like 45 seconds. And the funniest one I've seen so far is him with that fucking whatever coming out, and at the bottom it says browsers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh fuck. Yeah, but all right. So go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was fucked up, man. And the problem with the Munoz fight was I put the little video up on Instagram. Fucking Ron Canaro, he's looking at the ref. He fucking mouths to the ref. He's asleep. Motherfucker motherfucker, if I can see you see me choking this motherfucker, I know you got a good view. You can see my mouth mouthing to you. Like, I don't, you know. And then, like I said, it's ironic or just complete incompetence that the fucking guy would literally make the same mistake, the same submission, the same fucking viewpoint. I mean, you know, I don't know. It is ridiculous. How the fuck could this guy blow two calls like that are identical and like in major ways? Like, when do you stop the fucking fight? Like you said, Big Daddy was like, it's a fine line, and I can dig that. It is a fine line, but motherfucker, you're the one getting paid the big dollars to know the line. That's your job to know where the line is. When motherfuckers don't get up for 20 seconds after the fight's over, you let them cross the line. When Josh Koscheck has fucking drool running out of his cheek, fucking quit. He's not. You think he's going to get out of the fucking choke? It's fucking over, Jack. Like, what the fuck are you waiting on?
You know what that reminded me of, man, is when fucking alligator has prey, and that prey is trying to go back and forth, and that fucking alligator's got you, man. Ellenberger had him. Like, as soon as he locked that fucking north-south choke up, you know he wasn't going anywhere from that thing. Ellenberger is fucking strong as shit. My thing is like, okay, now, what is it, Mazzagatti? He's not even fucking UFC anymore, is he?
I mean, he's still a ref, but I think everyone avoids using him. Ever since the Brock Lesnar thing, people have been so iffy about him that they almost refuse to use him.
There you go. I've seen Mazzagatti in other organizations. Yves Lavigne, same thing. That motherfucker did some questionable shit. Now we don't see him no more. I'm kind of wondering, you guys think we're going to see Jaron Vallel anymore? Because, man, it can't just be the three of us who think that was way fucked up. I mean, everybody was like, Jesus Christ, he almost killed him. And fucking Juan Carnero eased up on the choke, and he's like, he's asleep. Oh, yeah, well, let me look. No, he's fucking sleeping. I'm sure of it now. It's like, holy fuck. You see that? He let go of the choke, mouthed he's asleep, and then did one of these. Oh, yeah, asleep. Totally. Yeah. He must be fucking shitting now. You know, so I don't know, man. Everybody's like, skip 184, this and that. If you're going to petition something on Twitter, I say fire Jaron Vallel or fucking send him to the minor leagues or some shit where chokes ain't allowed, because obviously that motherfucker. Here's the thing. If Kenny Florian says, because he's pretty fucking diplomatic, like, people have fucked up big time, and Kenny Florian's like, well, you know, they're a professional and they do the best they can. Kenny Florian's like, I could see that he was out from 200 yards away at this elevated position. How can this cunt not see that he was out? So if Kenny Florian loses his shit, you know that was a bad fucking call that night.
Yeah, and what they say too about the refs, look, it's the refs' job to protect the fighter, you know, and from stopping from shit like that from happening. I think that refs need to be held accountable for bad fucking jobs. If they do a shitty job, they blow a call, they make something go late, there should be some kind of short suspension where they're required to take some kind of educational course to fucking refresh themselves, and maybe, like you said, move back to the minor leagues and take some you know, small organization fights.
You know what? Fuck that. I think it should be like a bad weight cut. If you let a choke go too long, you have to give the fighter 20% of your purse.
They don't make shit anyway. I don't know what the fuck that would work. Fucking, they'll just quit. They'll move on. It'll be like the one time where you see someone leave their job to actually be a teacher and make jack shit.
Yeah, man. Talk jack shit. Did you guys check out the declared salaries from 184? Everybody made dog shit in that fight.
Everybody did. Ronda didn't make more. Okay, I take it back. Ronda is gonna make pay-per-view points, but I don't know how much she got out of that.
I'm sure it's a lot.
It should be, as it should be. So,
but the guy at the bottom of the list got $8,000.
Oh. When are they gonna do something about that, man? First of all, that guy's gonna have a full-time job, and then he's gotta pay all his partners and his gym and all that shit. So
I tell you what, I wouldn't fight one of you assholes for $8,000.
But you know what? Though? I gotta say, man, I think I kind of disagree. I kind of disagree with you guys on this, man. You know what? You're right. You wouldn't fight us for $8,000, and nobody's fucking making you. No, seriously. Listen, if you want to be John Jones had to fight somebody for $8,000 in some fucking auditorium, someplace, one way or another. I bet you didn't get that much money for Stephan Bonner, but when he came out and made Stephan Bonner do fucking front flips with a spinning back elbow, he started getting paid, man. It's a risky business, you know. Like, they could probably get paid a little more, but I kind of get annoyed with guys being like, oh, well, I made $8,000. I had to do my 3-month camp. I had to work at Walmart. I had to serve French fries. Then don't, motherfucker. Like, go do something else, Jack. Like, nobody's making you.
There is two sides of the coin. That you only worked 15 minutes to earn that $8,000, but man, those guys put in so much time. But that's where sponsorships come in, and that's why I am still opposed to the Reebok deal, because I've talked with several fighters who made $8,000 from the UFC and made $65,000 from their sponsors.
Yeah, and now that's all gone. That's it's over. You can't bring a sponsor to the cage anymore unless it says Reebok on it. And I forgot who it was. I think it was Robbie Lawler and somebody else re-upped on an Adidas sponsorship. I don't know how the fuck that's gonna work when they have to walk into the cage with Reebok on their shirt and their shorts.
Wait a minute. Can you put anything you want on your banner?
No.
No, so it's all Reebok, period.
That's it. UFC and Reebok.
Okay.
As far as I understand, banners are going to be either gone or it'll be a Reebok banner. But that's only fight week and fight night. So any other you want to, you can rep whatever the hell you want to. And but I mean, like, how many Adidas commercials do you see with Robbie Lawler?
Right.
Right, and here's the thing is, like, not a lot of sponsors are going to pay you money so you can walk around every day and fucking wear the t-shirt and whatnot. You'd have to start doing fucking a ton of public appearances and TV spots and all that shit to make those worth it. So you're right, a lot of fighters are going to miss out on the sponsorship money. But, it's... And I don't know, a lot of people already, pulled out of I mean, as we saw last weekend, a lot of those fucking walkout shirts were like single sponsor things of shit you've never heard of.
Mitsubishi, do you see how many Mitsubishi? Yeah, man. I don't know. I think it does open a lot of opportunity for other organizations, though, because I'll tell you what, the Bellator fighters are probably going to be making mad cash from Dethrone and fucking Archangel or whoever else, clothing company, and everybody fucking else that's got wings on their shirt. I got wings on my shirt.
You know the fucking companies.
It's so fucking.
You know 'em.
Hey, he had a good fucking point till he looked down. Like, oh shit, I got wings too.
I'm part of the problem.
I'm fucking. Hey, don't mess with me. I'm wearing an Affliction shirt. I could whip your ass.
That's back.
But
you train UFC, bro.
It's all going to be a feeling out process, and at the end of the day, these guys are independent contractors, and I have a sneaky suspicion that some of them are going to find loopholes to that whole fucking Reebok thing.
I'm sure they will, and they got to, because I don't know, it's a business, man, just like we keep saying. So, all right, let's talk about the Holly Holm Raquel Pennington fight. All this hype behind Holly Holm, and I'm not impressed whatsoever. Because she came out like a point fighter, man. It looked like a boxing match, man. Like, I've seen I used to be a huge boxing fan, and I know what a point fighter is. Those guys in the Olympics, you can fucking fight in the Olympics and knock your opponent out, but if he scored more points than you lost that fight. That's exactly, in my opinion, what Holly Holm looked like, other than stuffing a bunch of takedowns, which, okay, great job, good for you. But I actually picked Raquel Pennington before the fight. Before the fight, people were like, "Oh, there's no way she's gonna, Holly Holm's gonna come in and run over her." And I said, "Just watch. Holly's not running over anybody because she doesn't have a ground game, or at least not one that we know of. And she's gonna have to just fight to not, get taken down." I thought for sure Rocky was gonna take her down and finish that fight, but Holly gets, I think it was a split decision. Look, man, I give Rocky way more credit than I do Holly for standing with a fucking boxing champ. So, start with Fred here. You saw that fight. What'd you think of that shit?
You know what? I think fucking pricks like you are coming down too hard on Holly Holm. Listen, man, I think the reason that everybody is kind of sour on her performance is that the fucking hype train was running off the rails. Because I kind of bought into it too, and immediately after the fight, like everybody else, I was kind of like, oh, well, shit. That ain't what I expected. Boxing champion, head kick knockouts. Like everybody, I kind of thought she was going to come in and, do something flashy and knock her out. And when she didn't, I think all of us were kind of like, oh, well, she's not going to fight, right? We were all let down. But if you take her hype away from it, it was a pretty solid performance. Like, I think that if she had made her UFC debut without all this hype. On the prelims, the Fox Sports 1 card or whatever, I think this conversation sounds a lot different. I think we go, she's a decent prospect. She needs another fight or two, but her boxing look, I think it was just all that hype, man. The co-main event spot and all that made her performance seem less than the sum of its parts. It wasn't great, don't get me wrong, but I think the fact that we all kind of expected greatness going in just made it seem a little less than in hindsight.
Yeah, and the thing about Holly, and I'll give her credit, she actually tried to pull the hype down a little bit, But anytime you asked her, anytime they asked her, are you ready for Ronda? She would say, no, I think I need a few more fights. I don't think I'm ready for Ronda just yet. That's the big fight. So credit to her for that. But like I said, just the damn hype train that they run, and I know it's a business. You got to hype up fighters. They're always going to hype up the next challenger for Ronda, saying she's the most dangerous one she's faced so far. They're going to try and do that to Holly. And again, credit to Holly for saying, I need a few more fights, relax, It's just, I don't know. I think, you know what? I think you're right, Fred. I think I was just let down by the hype train because I bought into it, fucking hook, line, and sinker, thinking this guy's going to come in and be a terror on the feet. And the fact that Rocky could stand with her the entire fight, stood with her, and actually landed a lot of shots. She landed a lot of good fucking shots. And I was really impressed with Raquel Pennington. I really hope she doesn't get cut. But now her record's 5-6, so it's going to be a bit of a rough. I don't know. It's going to be. She's waiting on edge. There's no way she's not on edge right now, waiting to hear about whether she's going to stay or not with that bloated roster that we were talking about a little bit ago. But Aaron, when you watched the fight, what'd you think of that shit?
Okay, I've kind of, I don't know what it was. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the fight on Hammer Radio, and I mentioned, I was like, I don't know how she's 13. Like, she's never been in the UFC. How do you come to the UFC with a rank? But then there was that hype train and that highlight reel and made her look a lot better than she was. But for me, what it was is she spent 17 years with Mike Winkeljohn. Mike Winkeljohn is no fucking joke. Over there, he's kind of the understated partner at Jackson's, but that's his striking coach. Jackson is the strategist, but Winkeljohn is the striking coach. That guy's no joke. And yeah, man, she looked like an Olympic point boxer. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. It's the big show. UFC jitters are real. She had a lot of adrenaline, you could tell. She was pacing back and forth. And then the unfortunate thing about the hype train on the other side is I think Rocky bought into it as well. Because if I think she would have been aggressive like she was with Ashley Evans-Smith, I think like what Fred said, we'd be having a different discussion like, holy fuck, Rocky Pennington tore her head off. Because she just wouldn't get inside with her. But the one time that she did hit her solid, what happened? Holly Holm went down on her ass. Mm-hmm. So Holly Holm's a boxer. It's a lesson learned. Just because the UFC is jamming somebody down our throat, the proof is in the pudding. And you only get one chance to make a first impression. And for most fans, she made a bad impression. And that's going to be the impression now when we see her again is, are we going to see this point fighting bullshit, never set down on her punches, and just keep trying to land the head kick that's never coming, the head kicks that's never coming? So, yeah, man, I think a lot of people were let down. As far as Rocky Pennington being cut, a lot of female fighters have skewed records because they get thrown into the fucking grinder. Most female fighters have got like one amateur fight, and they say, fuck this, I'm not doing it unless I get paid. So a lot of them, they get fucking, thrown right into it. So I don't know. I hope she doesn't get cut. I'd like to see her back in there. As far as Holly, man, she needs to sit down with Jackson and Winkeljohn and, change things around so she looks like an MMA fighter and not a boxer.
Right, exactly. And I wonder who to give her next. Like, she's gonna need a couple more fights. And I'm with you right there with the whole she's ranked number 13, even though she never fought in the UFC. It didn't make any sense to me. But now she's in the top 10 off of that performance. Personally, I don't think it's deserved off of that performance based off of that. But if you're gonna build a contender, you need her to be in the top 10, right?
She moved up 3 rankings to the top 10, Matt?
She's in the top 10. I don't know her exact ranking, but she's in the top 10 now.
Well, see, that'll just show you how fucking shallow the talent pool is. That's all that is right there. And like what Fred said about Justino, Ronda Rousey's in the same fucking awkward position. Do you want to... Here you go. Do you want to see her fight Kaufman again?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Do you want to see her fight Tate again?
Maybe only if it's in a pool full of Jello and there's skimpy clothing going on. No striking either, only grappling. I know I'm being an asshole. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
What a cunt. No, no, I mean seriously, because hey, if anybody's got him, I'd pay for nude photos of Misha Tate. But no, seriously, like that Ronda's in the same position because now they're just like, how many men in the bantamweight division do you think she could? People, it's I mean, now it's starting to be where UFC's like, what do we do with this woman? She does have to go away for a little while and let other women, because Jessica I's talking mess about I want her next. I love Jessica I, man. Friend of the show, been on Stand and Bang. I know her manager, great girl. Does she got a shot against Ronda Rousey? Maybe. I mean, I didn't think Stipe Miocic was going to hold his own against JDS, and now he's going to be headlining a card with Mark Hunt. So, I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. And then after that, I'm kind of at a loss. Like, who else do we throw at Ronda where I don't already know that she is just going to fucking trounce him? So for me, I mean, being that high up on a pedestal, like, all right, we got John Jones. You guys agree, baddest guy in the UFC right now?
Easily.
Yep.
Okay, but he has a legitimate threat in Anthony Johnson, and now other cats are bringing him 5 rounds. On the regular now, he's going 5 rounds. So I'm starting to think, all right, they're starting to chip at the edges. With Ronda, her fights just keep getting shorter and shorter. Like, what was the last one where she whoops her face? Was that Kaufman?
Alexis Davis.
Alexis Davis shit-whipped her down to the ground and fucking messed up her face for 8 seconds, took her out, and I'm like, well, there can't be any faster finish than that. And then Kat Zingano gets her fucking a shoulder dislocated in, what was it, 11 seconds? 14?
I think so, yeah.
But then at the same time, just like Fred and I talked about on Stand and Bang, that just boils down with Kat Zingano. That, in my opinion, is the biggest blunder in UFC history. That decision to engage Ronda Rousey with a flying knee. Hey, we had 2 viewers there for a second. Whoever that was that left the show, fuck you. This is some fucking gold. This is gold that we're spitting, you assholes.
You're fucking paying attention to the fucking. See, I stopped looking at that thing because then I get fucking I get kind of like that where I'm like, what the hell? Why they leave? But all right.
Listen, you know what? I got a quick theory I want to throw out here for what to do with Ronda Rousey, man, because this is a big question. What are we going to do with this girl? She's got to have somebody to fight, and right now there's no fight you can line up for her that makes sense in any remote way other than Cyborg, and that's not reality. So Ronda Rousey has fought often lately, right? I mean, she's been pretty active the last year or so. She's gotten quite a few title defenses out. Even with her movie making, we've seen her quite often. She's got shit she can go do. I say we let Ronda disappear for a while, and I know the fucking UFC hates doing this, and there would be no one-night shit, but set up a 4-woman tournament. Put in Betch Correia, Holly Holm, not against each other, throw Misha Tate in, and maybe Kat Zingano or Jessica I. And then let those 4 girls do a tournament over the course of the next 9-10 months. And, whoever ends up fighting Ronda has to win 2 fights in a row. They're already low-key trying to force Betch Correia in there. If Betch Correia can, say, beat Jessica I and then beat Holly Holm, or if Holly Holm can beat, Misha Tate and then Betch Correia, all of a sudden Rousey comes back to somebody that we can fucking at least go, yo, whoever wins that little tournament, and let's say Misha Tate actually wins both those fights, which I fucking highly doubt, then piss on it, give her her 3rd try. But I highly doubt she wins 2 of those fucking fights in a row. You're probably going to get either Holly Holm or Betch Correia, but with a lot more fucking hype. And Ronda's going to need that, man. Any fight she takes anytime remotely soon is going to bomb because nobody is going to care about her opponent, not even remotely.
No, and I hear you on that. You got to build a contender to take on her and everything. And I think that was part of the thing for Holly Holm. But you mentioned Betch Correia, whatever her name is. She's been yelling and screaming and kicking and screaming, and Jessica I talking about she's going to beat the crap out of somebody if someone else gets a fight first. You're right. I like that idea. I like the tournament idea. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's kind of funny because who are we talking to? Who were we talking to last night? Who calls modern fighters pussies because they don't have to do that tournament no more? And especially with the women, man, that might actually put a nice spotlight, something for us to look forward to, kind of like structure and be like, all right, we're going to see the top 4 prospects and we're really going to weed it out, man. Because if it's like what you were saying, you're talking like a double elimination, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
All right, so if you're in a double elimination tournament, that's pretty legit. You know what I mean? Like, you usually don't get 2 fluky losses or 2 fluky wins.
Right.
You know, and so not so much divisions, but you all gonna have to fight each other, and the weak sister is gonna be weeded out, and the strongest among you is gonna be, and then not like it's gonna unify the title or anything like that, but with Ronda, focusing in on other shit, and these women constantly training for that tournament. I don't know, and it would be something cool to see, especially since now Bellator has dropped their tournament-style fighting out. Because to me, man, I loved it back in the day when we had Grand Prix. I loved Grand Prix. You know what I mean? And I still like bracketed tournaments too, man. Mm-hmm. I like Bellator's bracketed tournaments. I thought those were great. And gives a fighter a chance to achieve something. Like, that's how Liam McGeary became legit. I mean, he starched everybody in that light heavyweight tournament, and then finally got to face Emmanuel Labor.
God damn it.
There it is.
I'll never forget that shit, man. But yeah, that's a fucking great idea, and I think a lot of that would help because how many times have we talked about the shallow talent pool in the women's division? And if you got a really shallow talent pool, sometimes tournaments. That's the best way to go because then even though the talent pool is shallow, who's swimming in the deep end, So that's a good idea. I like that.
All right, we got about 15 minutes left. So what do you guys think of Kat Zingano? What do you do with her now?
We got 15 minutes left. Haven't we been doing this for like 3.5 hours?
Is that what it feels like? Let me check and see how long we've been going. But go ahead. What do you think we do with what do you think they do with Kat Zingano?
I was gonna say, fuck, man. My show's 60 minutes long, and that feels like long shit. What do I think about Kat Zingano? I think that she fucking disappointed everybody on Earth. Because now, there's no denying, we didn't get to see what she can do. We didn't get to see what she can do. Because there's no way that she ran through 9 people. There's no way she ran through 9 people and did convincingly as she did and has those fucking delt muscles and those biceps and that striking skill. Here's what it is. You throw a Hail Mary pass at the end of the game. She threw her Hail Mary in the first 3 seconds, and that's an all-or-nothing situation. Either that knee dings Ronda in the chin, and she gets dazed, and you ground and pound her out, or you engage with Ronda in her world, and you fucking lose real fast. So I think, I'm like I said before, I think it was one of the largest blunders in UFC history and strategy.
Yeah, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, man. Hindsight's 20/20. You can look back on it and say horrible decision, but like Aaron said, man, couple inches to the left, she lands that flying knee. Ronda goes out. All of a sudden, she's the fucking king shit of everything because she starts Ronda Rousey in 6 seconds. So, but as we all know, it didn't go like that. For me, I'm living in this world of the tournament. I'm lining up the tournament in my fantasy mind, and in my mind, I'm making Kat Zingano DC. Kat Zingano becomes the alternate, If any of these girls in the tournament gets hurt, she's right there. She's available. If you can't line her up a big fight, she steps in. I don't want to see her get no immediate rematches. She had her chance and she blew it. That sucks, but that's the way it goes. But I think she could get folded right back in. If that's not the case, then give her, somebody right there at the top, one of those 4 girls. I'd rather not see her fight Miesha Tate or a rematch. Holly Holm. Fuck it. Let's go with Holly Holm. If they're going to fast track Holly Holm.
No, wait.
Like that.
Let's see Zingano I think that would be a good fight.
Okay. Yeah.
Both of those girls are going to fucking go toe-to-toe. They are going to bang it out. And I think that would be a super exciting fight. take the title completely out of the situation for both of those girls. Because you were right, man. I totally forgot about Kohea. She's a badass. Think she's going to beat Rousey? I don't think anybody's going to beat Rousey. Maybe fucking John Jones. I don't know. But but Kohea does deserve a chance there somewhere because she has not fought Rousey, right?
No, she hasn't.
No.
Okay. But I mean, like, for an exciting WMMA fight, like, I can't think of one better than Kat Zingano versus Jessica Ai in a co-main event with a really good main event, like a title fight main event. I think that would light an event on fire right there. That would wake you up before the main event, because I'll bet you that one of those girls is going to get knocked the fuck out.
Oh, for sure. If you put Zingano Ai in there, oh, absolutely, man. That would be pretty freaking insane. So, all right. Real quick note here. It looks like some breaking-ish news. Vinny Malgahez is out of his World Series of Fighting 19 bout. So the headliner is now Thiago Silva. And now I'm trying to find his opponent. Does it really matter? It's Thiago Silva. So
Magalhaes is out of World Series 19.
He's hurt again.
Fuck. No, I'm just
What? Yeah.
I could not give a shit less about what you just said.
Whatever, man. I'm gonna go to that fucking fight. So that event, it's in Phoenix. So you have to check it out.
That's why it matters.
You know how hard it is to get press credentials for World Series of Fighting?
Already working on it. We got some for in California. So or out of Vegas.
It's not hard.
Easy.
It's not hard. They invite me every fucking every event, no matter where they are. They're like, Aaron, here's your press credentials. I'm like, I didn't even fucking apply.
Yeah. Oh man, fucking no. Have you ever? No, we'll talk about this later. Anyway, let's talk about real quick before to end the show.
Fucking intrigued. No, wait, now what the fuck are we talking? Have I ever what?
No, I was gonna say, have you ever gotten any UFC credentials or any invitations to that?
Actually, you don't really get invited. It's just it's an application, yeah, you just have to have like a legitimate radio thing or a legitimate website with a certain amount of viewers, like Hammer MMA. Hammer MMA is credentialed, and they sent me over the application. So I've got the press portal, and I've got a couple of the PR guys in my email. But honestly, and this will probably make all the other like junior analysts in the world be like, he's a prick, more than they already say that. Yeah. I don't like covering events. It's a shitty seat. It's a shitty job. You don't get to be a fan. You have to sit there and pretend like you're not excited when somebody gets their jaw broken. And really, I'm not a color I'm like, I would do great color commentary. Like if you put me in a headset and I'm like, yeah, now he's trying to hip escape and all this kind of stuff, and oh, that was a great kick and this and that and the other thing. But when I'm sitting there on my keyboard on Twitter going, okay, and now Ryan Couture just got him in a rear naked choke. Tweet. Okay. Tweet. It's not fun, unless you're a guy looking into one of the monitors and you got a headset on and you're doing color. It's not fun. It's not a fun job. I mean, Eddie, you've done it. It's not fun.
I don't know. I think the only reason I can do it is because I can actually stare at the screen and watch a fight. Like when I went to Invicta, I actually could watch the fights and type at the exact same time with minimal spelling errors. But I do get what you're saying. You can't really be a fan. I couldn't sit there and be like, holy shit. Michelle Waterson just tapped. It was one of those things where you can't really enjoy it 100%. So I'm with you on that part.
Right. And the last event that I covered, there was a dude from SB Nation who shall remain unnamed who apparently had some gastrointestinal distress because that boy almost fucking killed us in press row, and he was not polite about it at all. So I don't know about the professionals over at SB Nation, but you need Bino because that shit was bad.
Oh man, I got some stories from Invicta as well from some stinky bastards. So anyway, and I hate that they always sit next to me. I fucking hate that shit. Anyway,
no, always sit next to you, man. They all stink like that.
It's everybody. Fuck them. All right. All right. To end the show, real quick, thoughts on Burt Watson leaving the UFC, Fred?
It's kind of sad, right? I mean, that dude became a fixture in the UFC. It's kind of fucking hard to imagine not seeing him around and not having the nice little tag phrases. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. It's going to be sad not to see him around, man. It was cool.
Yeah, for Aaron?
You know, for me, it's like one of those things where it's just end of an era. You know what I mean? Win, lose, or draw, however it went down, Burt will be missed. It's an end of an era, but also the UFC's a business, so Burt will be replaced right away too. So I think maybe sometimes you got to swallow your pride because he had a pretty sweet job. Babysitting fighters isn't that bad. So if somebody called you an asshole because you left Mark Munoz behind, you got a lot of pride. I understand that, but that was a pretty cushy job. So in my estimation, Burt Watson was like a glorified mascot. So, like, is it going to affect me when I watch the cards? Absolutely not. I think more or less that's more of a fighter thing. The fighters are going to miss Burt because he was such a good guy. As far as fans, especially casuals, I mean, I think that'll barely make a blip. You know what I mean? That's like a three-day conversation, and then Burt Watson's in fucking obscurity, you know?
Yeah, and yeah, I'm mostly with Fred on this one. It was kind of a novelty thing where you know he's in the back. Whenever you watch those countdown videos, he's in there. The weigh-in videos, he's in there. You're not gonna hear Joe Rogan said, Burt Watson babysitter to the stars and all that shit anymore. So yeah, it just I don't know. It is mostly sad. So anyway,
Before we go, I'd just like to ask a quick question, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want to touch on Ronda Rousey for a minute and just ride her tits for a minute with her dominance.
Hold up, time out. Best fucking saying ever for a chick. I want to ride her tits. I do too, man. I'm not lying. I'm with you on that shit.
He goes, I want to touch on Ronda for a minute and ride her tit. Yeah. Jack.
Okay. But mine's out of the gutter, boys. Mine's out of the gutter. But where do you put her on the fucking pound for pound list at this point? I mean, I was thinking about something. I was reading her statistics. The fucking broad has 100% finishing rate. As dominant as anybody we can name is, fucking nobody finishes them all. Nobody. Not John Jones, not Chris Weidman. Now, I know you could say it's not a fair comparison because maybe the competition level or she's not quite there yet. But whatever the fuck, say she fights 4 or 5 more times. If by some chance she gets 4 or 5 more finishes, does she go down as the fucking greatest fighter of all time, bar none, no matter what fucking gender she is, period?
No, there's always going to be an asterisk. She's the best female fighter on the planet.
Why?
Because she's got a vagina.
Fuck that, though. But generally speaking, though, pound for pound doesn't got shit to do with cocks and vaginas. It's got to do with being the fucking best pound for pound.
Okay, but then you got to make the argument, too. If she's the best pound for pound, could she beat the guys that Mighty Mouse is beating?
It's a fucking different argument, but, I mean...
No, it's not, because you took gender out of it. So, no, it's not. Could she beat the opponents that Mighty Mouse is beating? Could she beat the opponents that fucking Ian McCall is beating? Do you know what I mean? The pound for pound, it has to be a gender issue. Just like, okay, who's the world's best female basketball player? Nobody knows because nobody ever watches that shit. But
okay. No, good point. Fair enough. Okay, let me revise my point then. My point would be pound for pound far as credentials go. Like, not keeping the gender and the species, but like, who the fuck else is going to finish their career with nothing but finishes that nobody even made it the distance with this person? Not far as Ronda fighting other men. That's generally odd. But pound for pound accomplishments.
Okay, I'll put it to you this way. I think that she becomes the quickest inductee in the Hall of Fame. I'll give you that. Because I don't like that pound for pound. Because here's the thing about pound for pound. If you made Demetrius Johnson 205 pounds, he wouldn't fight like Demetrius Johnson. So I don't like that pound for pound bullshit anyways. I don't know what the fuck that means. But I will tell you that she'll probably be the fastest inductee in the Hall of Fame, and she's going to be the Michael Jordan of female fighting probably forever. I think that Joe Rogan is full of shit a lot, and I think it has to do with all the psychedelic drugs and shit. But he does say one thing about Ronda is that she is a once-in-a-lifetime athlete, and I do believe that. I do believe that we will never see anybody like Ronda in our lifetimes.
I guess this is my question. Why does she have to be the Michael Jordan of women's MMA? Could she be the fucking Michael Jordan of MMA? Could she just be that good? Or is there always going to be that barrier because she's a woman?
Well, maybe I'm just a misogynist prick. I don't know. Yeah, man. Fuck it. Fuck it. She's the best of all time. I love You fucking won me over, man. I'm on my knees. She's pound for pound, fucking testicle for testicle. That bitch is the fucking pinnacle of combat sports.
Here's the thing. So that, I don't know. I almost don't want to touch this one, but I will say this: men and women, as much as people don't want to agree with it, or a lot of people, a lot of progressive people, I guess, I don't know how to label it, but a lot of people don't want to think that we still have kind of gender roles in society, and we kind of do. And if you're gonna rank, who does the tougher stuff and who goes to war and who goes to all the stuff, men are still above women on that, and that kind of thinking still goes into sports, just like you said. Who's the best female basketball player in the world? By the way, I do know who it is. It's Diana Taurasi of the Phoenix Mercury, who just went over to Russia. Don't call me a faggot. I know what you're going to say. Anyway.
Exactly what I was going to say.
I know you're going to say that. Anyway, but I'm a basketball fan. What can I say? I just know shit. Anyway, so, it's going to be that gender role thing, I believe, in society that's going to keep her as the best female MMA, fighter of all time. But also the fact that she's not going to fight dudes. Okay, she's not gonna fight men. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna get that freak show here. You might get that shit in Brazil, but not here. So, and I get what you're saying. Could she go down because of her finishing rate, because of her record, because how goddamn dominant she is? That's the question, and that's a question that we're gonna have to that could possibly get answered at the end of her career, right? But at that point, you're talking comparisons. You're talking comparing Jordan to Kobe, but they're males. So you're talking comparing, Jordan to Taurasi. No one even knows who she is apparently. You're talking, it's so there's so many, it's such a huge difference between men and women, especially in a sport where you're beating the shit out of each other in the cage. That it's very difficult to say that she could go down as the best fighter to ever do it. But will she be in the conversation?
Maybe. The other side of the coin, man, is she might be the only champion that retires undefeated. But I will tell you this: she's 135 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Arguably, so is Lineker. Now I'll tell you what: Lineker hits a lot harder than anyone she will ever face in the 135-pound division, and that's where, for me, that's where it is. If you want to do pound for pound, that means all things being equal. Well, if you've got block and tackle and she doesn't, then things aren't equal. You know what I mean? So, right. Like I said, though, she could go down as the first undefeated champion like fucking Rocky Marciano. She might be the quickest inductee into the UFC Hall of Fame. She's going to be a Hall of Famer no matter fucking what. She revolutionized women's MMA. So do we have to make the argument of pound for pound? She is by far the pinnacle of fucking women's MMA. And man, to me, that's enough. She don't have to be the pinnacle of MMA. She is the entire fucking sport of WMMA.
True. I just felt like she's so fucking uber impressive. I mean, you mentioned the best female basketball player in the world. I have no idea who she is, but does she fucking put up Kobe-like numbers or Jordan-like numbers? Is she the fucking equivalent of Ronda Rousey in her sport? As a matter of fact, on that topic, is any woman?
Yeah, man. Good? Tennis. What are the sisters?
But they lost. But they've lost. They've never fucking beat every person. Fucking people scored on them. I mean, seriously.
Fuck, Kirby, take your goddamn meds. I already told you.
No, I know. I'm just saying, her shit is so impressive that it's hard to get over. Like, there's kind of no fucking comparison. The bitch, like, big boy skunks everybody she plays.
Yeah.
Big skunks.
As anyone, that's the first time I ever heard that shit.
The next time you're on Stand and Bang, if you don't say low-key styling and big boy skunks, I'm not inviting you back.
All right, to end that one, I will say this, that if Ronda retires undefeated, we could say she could be, we could maybe talk about her being the greatest champion in MMA. Maybe not the greatest fighter, because that's a completely different label, but maybe the greatest champion to ever do it, very possible, if she retires undefeated. So, again, well, I mean, I think we're only maybe a couple years, if not 1 year off or away from that conversation. Right. I don't think she's going to stay very long, because I wouldn't, if I was her. So, anyway, all right, well, I think it's midnight for you boys, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this now. Thanks for joining me tonight. Fred, they can follow you over, I believe it's at Kirby_MMA.
Yes, sir, that's it.
And at Gem City Fighting, I believe is the other one, right?
Yep, both of those, yes, sir.
All right, cool. And then you can catch both these guys over on Stand and Bang Radio. Aaron's Twitter handle at Stand, the letter N, and Bang, or Yeah, Stand and Bang Radio. You know, the way you were fucking saying it on your show, I was like, how is he gonna explain this to people? And you actually said Stand and Bang. Like you made the N sound. It was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, what the fuck can I do? I mean, like fucking Fred says, hindsight is 20/20. My Facebook page is MMA Press Row, which doesn't have shit to do with nothing, and fucking I have to go Stand, the letter N, the word Bang Radio. Nobody's ever gonna fucking find me on Twitter. I don't give a shit. Hey, you know what's more important? Find that shit over on iTunes and give it a listen. We've got Gary Goodridge over there, and that is a dude that's legit. So
Yeah,
thanks for having me on, Ed. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. Hit the subscribe button on that show. It's always good shit. So thanks for joining me, boys. I'll catch you guys later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good night, fellas.
Later.